Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream of the Hackathon Code versus COVID-19. We have our second expert round today, and I'm Tanya König, and I'm very happy to guide you throughout the next half an hour. So let me bring in our guests today. We have Professor Gisbert Schneider from ETH Zurich. Hi. Rachel Salomonsen. Hey, Rachel.
Hi.
She's the president and CEO of Oxford Epidemiology Services. And we got Sergio Carrillo, Wilisch, that works at Roche. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Good.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sergio. So Sergio is joining from Colombia, and we're going to check how this goes with the internet. Sergio, can you hear us? Otherwise, we start with you, Rachel.
Great.
So tell me, how exactly are you trying to tackle the issue of COVID-19?
Sure. So I run an epidemiology firm, and that has focused mostly on on developing countries. We've worked in more than 35 countries. And so immediately after COVID broke out and the US started to take it a little more seriously, we launched a survey to try to understand how people were feeling about it. We launched a coronavirus team, I should say, first of all. And then that team has been collecting information from the population to find out how they're feeling about it. Do they know what everything means? How worried are they? And it's interesting for us to see that initially people were not that worried, and that over time they've become increasingly worried, which makes sense. We've also launched a contact tracing and a symptoms tracker form on our Data Adventure, which is a technology solution that we created to allow us to collect information in real time. And we're launching those and offering those to governments and countries who can use them, especially developing countries. So in addition to that, we have a clinical referral solution that also works offline, that is very friendly to developing countries, that will allow them to do referrals of COVID cases, but any cases. But you can imagine using such a tool during the time of COVID could give the providers who are receiving the patients a little bit of a heads up to start preparing their space to receive this patient in a way that minimizes additional infection.
Can you give us maybe a quick example, a very concrete example on how exactly this app is used? You know, is it straight in a very concrete thing?
Sure, yeah. So you can imagine that a patient comes with that in many countries, healthcare is provided by a number of different types of health providers. You can imagine that maybe the first person to notice the COVID symptoms would be like a community health worker. And that person would want to send that patient to a clinician, maybe a health center or a hospital. And if the health center or hospital that's receiving the patient is aware of the type of patient they're receiving before the patient arrives, that gives them a chance to organize themselves and prepare to receive that patient. So they can roll out any existing protocols they may have about wearing personal protective gear, preparing the space, and making sure that other patients are not exposed, or minimizing exposure for other patients. So that's how we envision that being used. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Rachel.
Sure.
I'm going to add Gisbert to our conversation. Gisbert, so you're professor for computer-assisted drug design. Tell us, how are you tackling COVID-19?
Right. I mean, our activities are part of a much larger involvement of ETH Zurich as an institution. And this crisis has prompted an overwhelming response within the ETH Zurich community. And one aspect of this response is that ETH Zurich is now leveraging its research expertise. This means that we have formed task force, and I am part of this task force trying to combat COVID-19 disease from a molecular perspective. So my team in particular is using various tools from the realm of artificial intelligence and computational algorithmics to find potential small molecules, chemical agents that could serve as drugs to combat this infection.
Great, thank you. Is there anything that, you also, I saw that you studied informatics and biology. So I was just thinking about our audience out there that is programming. Is there anything that you would like to see from the community, a solution that should be coming that could help you?
I'm very happy to have this opportunity to, in a way, participate in this hackathon, Code versus COVID-19 initiative, which was co-initiated by ETH Zurich. And there are tons of opportunities where computational tools, where apps could support our scientific discovery efforts. For example, it is currently rather difficult to get hold of all the data that is out there on the internet in the various outlets, research outlets, and some apps that could spider the web and retrieve these rather distributed pieces of data would be immensely helpful for our research.
Thank you, Gisbert. I'm going to try to get Sergio into the conversation. Sergio, hi. Sergio, can you hear us?
Hi. Yes,
Hi.
I can hear you very well.
Great,
Hi.
thanks. Good having you. So tell us, how are you tackling COVID-19?
So, as you know, I'm in Colombia right now. So I came because I got parenthood leave. My daughter was born in January, so we live just 1 week before Colombia decided to close all its borders. So the whole country is in lockdown. It's very difficult to go out. However, the government has done a really huge task to make sure that all its citizens are in house, that poor people are getting food, that the supply chain is active. And this has been a huge task. You must think that in comparison to other countries, Colombia has a population of people that do not work on the formal ways, are on the streets, living from day to day. So this is in Colombia one of the biggest issues. The government is helping a lot, but also private citizens and companies are helping, providing them with food and or paying them services like electricity or water. So I'm very surprised how good the government has helped, and also the population help each other here in Colombia.
Thank you, Sergio, for your insights on the ground in Colombia. That
Sure.
You're there. Are you planning to come back to Switzerland anytime soon?
No, actually, there are no flights to any country. Borders are closed. This week there was a humanitarian flight organized by the Swiss government, and we decided not to take it because we are better here than in Switzerland at the moment. So when the borders are open, we will plan to go back to Switzerland.
If you say you're better off in Colombia than in Switzerland, what exactly do you mean by that?
I mean, we are with family members, and that's a huge help, especially when you have small kids. And I'm currently with my in-laws. That's a huge help. In Switzerland, we will be my wife and myself. So from that perspective, it's better that we are here than in Switzerland at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Just maybe quick info to the audience out there. You can all send in your questions, of course, to our three experts via the chat, and I will try to add them to the conversation. Okay, then let's maybe go back to you, Rachel.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi.
So you're also one of the mentors. You're also working with teams here at the hackathon. What exactly are you working on?
We're working on a very exciting project. We're trying to predict the flow of the epidemic and create a model that can be used in developing countries as well as other countries, obviously. We are implementing a machine learning methodology to make use of the time series data that is currently available and increasingly available. But we're also using a regular method of regression analysis to do this as well, to look at what happens before and after intervention. I'm working with a really, really interesting and motivated team of professionals. And we hope that, I don't know if it's going to happen by the end of this hackathon, but we do hope that the product that we produce will help us to identify what is that package of intervention that's going to more quickly curb the epidemic, and how does that vary based on development indices, so that different countries can use it based on their current situations. So poverty levels, population density, and things like that.
And how easy is it to get all these data that you need? Are you getting everything you need?
We're getting quite a lot. Some of it is a bit challenging, but there's a lot of data that's available at the UNDP website, World Bank, WHO has a lot of data. And so I think it's a matter of accumulating all of it. Our team has done an excellent job accumulating a lot of it. Some of the harder data it's very interesting how much data there is on the incidence of COVID or the prevalence of COVID. But the information on the interventions are not all in one place. So that's been a little bit, and I was particularly working on that, so I know that that's a little more difficult to find. You have to go through newspapers, etc. But it also says something about us and our preparedness. Like we haven't valued that enough to create databases where that's easily accessible.
Is that one of the bigger challenges then, or anything else that you find particular problematic?
Well, I'm not sure if that's a bigger challenge. It was definitely a challenge for me. Maybe there are places out there where this information is already available and I just haven't found it yet. So if anyone has that, please send me an email. I'd be happy to see it. I think in general, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of information out there. We haven't come together yet as a body of people overall, not my team, but our everybody working on this hasn't come together yet to synthesize some of the information that's coming out. So that's work. It's fine for the stage where we are with dealing with this pandemic, but it's definitely what I see us moving towards being able to do.
Okay. Gisbert, do you want to add on that? Because you also work with data, and that was a big topic yesterday on the volume and the verification issues.
Yes, I thank Rachel for her insightful remarks here on how to share data and how to access data, and possibly we need some new forms of online communication also to disseminate data and so that the scientific community has access early on and fosters exchange by data exchange. This is one of the, to me, most positively surprising elements of this whole crisis. I also see it as a huge opportunity. It could become a crowning moment for science and research, to take this corona situation as a blueprint for future events. We learn today what has worked quickly and what doesn't work at all at the moment. And here, maybe some good ideas from the hackathon teams will actually help us solve this data sharing and data identification issue.
Then I read an article where you were quoted in the Tagesanzeiger, and one thing I found very interesting was that you said sometimes what is important is also that the right questions are being asked. can you maybe elaborate a bit? And because I'm just thinking about if the programmers out there, maybe some are not tackling the right questions.
I think to combat this disease, like any other disease, an interdisciplinary team is needed. In my opinion, the current situation is also a huge opportunity for private-public partnerships. We need to get people on board working in teams on a global basis, on a global level, not just locally, but we were distributed all around this globe to get together and drill down to actually asking which concrete next steps should we make, rather than just applying what's out there and creating all kinds of data sets we will never be able to critically investigate.
Thank you, Gisbert. Then I was also wondering, if I think about drug design, what exactly can you use data? I also read something about biomarkers. Is that something that could be used for COVID-19?
I mean, any pharmaceutical treatment requires a good diagnostics beforehand, because the medical doctors, pharmacists need to select the appropriate treatment, the appropriate medicines for the particular patient or patient cohort. And without knowing which type of, for example, viral infection, which type of symptoms there are, these biomarkers and diagnostic kits will help us. So a biomarker could be defined as a molecule in your body, or even some readout. You can create your skin color, for example, or if you have a dry cough, something like that could also be considered a biomarker. Rachel already mentioned that with the software program she's currently developing, find the right markers so that we can spot infections, cured persons, and the like, to find the right treatment.
Okay, so as I understand, would that be a tool that kind of also checks your body for symptoms? Because as I read, or many people out there have COVID-19, but maybe don't even have symptoms, so you can also only check that afterwards with an antibody test, I guess. But maybe there could be a tool that tracks parts of your body.
Yes, in my group we do not actively look for these biomarkers, but we rely on biomarker identification by other teams. Here, maybe Sergio would be an appropriate person to ask. Sergio, you're around?
Would you like to add on that, on biomarkers, on tools to look after biomarkers, would check your body for symptoms before you even realize that you have the symptoms?
Tanya, the sound is very bad.
Okay. You cannot hear us? Okay, let's try again after then.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you want to add on that?
Yeah, I'm very excited by what Gisbert has mentioned, because one of the ways that we envision being able to use our clinical referral app, which is called iReferNow, is that leveraging AI. If there is a biomarker type of device, it could be anything. It could be a regular thermometer. It could be a blood pressure monitor, but although that's not as relevant here. But let's imagine a thermometer that is measuring everybody's temperature level in a household. And then when that temperature is demonstrating fever, maybe 2 or 3 times, then there's an automatic referral that is being made so that the clinician that is in charge of that family can become aware of the situation. The thing with COVID and with many other conditions is that often the earlier you find it, the easier it is to treat it and get people better, because you prevent the development of secondary infections, which leads to mortalities. So so this idea of being able to quickly identify symptoms and communicate those symptoms to the right officials, who can then take on unleashing certain protocols that could lead to better health quicker, is definitely where we need to go. And it's very exciting to live and to be an epidemiologist at this time when that is a possibility, not just for us in developing countries, but also in not just for us in the US and in other developed countries, but also for us in developing countries. So
if I think about all these data sharing, there was also an article by Harari, you know, how it's also data protection, and people are afraid that suddenly the state or institutions, they have access to all these data. Are these questions that you're also looking at?
So data privacy is definitely very interesting. And we've just gone through the whole GDPR and HIPAA rules are very prevalent in the US as well. And so when you have a public health crisis, however, we need to think about data privacy in a different way. And I think conversations around that are happening, and they need to happen. This may not be the time. It's like, can you protect your own privacy at the risk of your neighbor's health? You know, those are the questions that we need to ask. And in previous public health crises, or even with regards to reportable conditions, those data privacy issues are lessened, but with people's knowledge or people's understanding. So I think we do have some work to do in that area, and very exciting area to talk about as well.
I'd be also interested in, you know, as an epidemiologist, I think that's such a difficult word to say. You're also studying the epidemics per se. Was this COVID outbreak something that you could already sense that was coming from your studies?
So, you know, there are a lot of outbreaks. Most of them are successfully contained. Between 2011 and 2018, for example, there were more than 1,400 outbreaks that WHO worked with and contained. So the way that, you know, we understand disease containment is to first, when you identify an outbreak, then you know, as quickly as possible, identify the symptoms, and then you start to screen. And then you aggressively screen and test, and you treat everybody you find, and you isolate cases, and all these things we know how to do. Unfortunately, this time there was a failure in the system of implementing these various known epidemic control measures. And so the epidemic has gotten a little bit out of hand, and now different measures are needed. And so I think that's where we're at, and it's a very fast-moving space, and we are doing our best, everybody doing their best to learn as quickly as possible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I see Sergio is back, so I'm going to bring him in. Let's see if it works now. Sergio, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear
Great.
you.
So you are working within the medical devices development?
That's correct.
And
yes.
If I think about medical devices, I think about ventilators for patients. What other devices are needed, and you know, how easy is it to bring them on the market right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so I think we have to think on many aspects. One of the most important aspects, and also as Gisbert already mentioned, is the diagnostics. You need to diagnose people, and I think this is a need. Fortunately, many medical device companies, diagnostic companies, including Roche, are bringing tests to the market on a very high speed. And that's surprisingly, because normally, and from my experience, you spend a lot of time developing products, medical products. you have a lot of regulatory steps that you have to perform. And right now, what I see is that the regulatory bodies are helping to accelerate this process. So in the case of diagnostic tests, normally you spend 1 year normally developing one. And we are talking about weeks, even days, to put those diagnostic tests on the market on the front of this pandemic. And that's very remarkable.
Well, I guess because it's so needed, so urgently needed. And it's not, yeah, it's good that the regulators are seeing that. I also saw snorkeling masks being used to ventilate patients.
Yes.
I guess that's not something that has really been certified, but is still being used.
No, but I think here is not about the certification. I mean, we are talking about a very specific situation of life and death. Many people dying if they don't get the supplies they need. And if you can come with an idea that could keep these people alive, it will just go straight to the market, especially in these situations. Of course, this is not the normal path as a medical device is developed, but we are talking about a very, very specific situation where you need any kind of solutions to tackle the problem.
Yeah. I'm also wondering, you're one of the mentors here for the hackathon. Can you tell us a bit how it has been so far, with what kind of team you've been working, what kind of problems are they solving?
So this has been a surprise for me, I must say, because the COVID is affecting every aspect of life, everything. So from going to your grocery shop to having a haircut, things that are normally part of your daily life are no longer possible in many places around the world. So I have support at the moment 4 teams. One of the teams is doing some game to help on the research of vaccines for the COVID-19. Other team I help a little bit is on a team that is trying to diagnose the COVID-19 virus by recordings of coughing, how people cough. If there is a pattern, they want to recognize that. That's amazing. Other 2 areas that I was very surprised to find some people thinking of it are the social problems of the COVID situation. One on the working. I mean, a lot of people is now working at home. So how are people dealing with this situation? And I help one team that is proposing a kind of chatbot to help companies and people working from home to increase their productivity. This is an additional problem that we have with this situation. The final project is a problem that is related a lot of the situation that Colombia has, and is how to provide support people working on the informal economy to get income. And I'm helping one team to find skills matching, so these people can get some kind of economic support or social support, so they are not alone during this situation. So I'm very, very surprised for the quantity of solutions, also for the thinking around the COVID-19 problem.
Amazing. That sounds really very nice. Amazing. Yeah. And I also saw Gisbert was nodding a lot his head while he was listening to you. Gisbert, do you want to add on this? Or
yes.
are there solutions that you're looking for?
I'd like to second Sergio's statement that the COVID crisis has different phases. There is an immediate life and death situation that demands certainly for different response than long-term, say, development of new pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. But the social implications and also the implications on mental state of patients, of who are affected, as you say, being at home, having to deal with a completely new lifestyle, demands for solutions. And here in particular, this hackathon initiative could actually support in a very effective way by offering virtual hangouts, coffee clutch corners, or could motivate streaming companies, organizations for like Netflix, for example, to offer virtual movie theaters you could jointly go to online. This is one aspect. And then the much scarier aspect is that very often these COVID symptoms cause panic attacks, anxiety attacks. And here, live chat stream opportunities, apps that connect with medical professionals and volunteers to offer psychological support would be urgently needed and warmly welcome.
Okay, so that's also a call out to everyone out there hacking. And these are the things that apparently are being looked after or for. So if anyone has any questions, we are soon closing this session. So you have maybe 1 minute more to ask something. Other than that, maybe let's put you all in back. As we are soon closing, is there anything that seems important to you that you would like to share with the audience?
I would like to highlight that I think it's great we're developing so many tools. I'm overjoyed and thrilled by and very impressed by all the different programmers and different professionals have come forward to respond. I think we have a responsibility to respond. So I'm really happy to see that. But I think we also have a responsibility to make use of some of the things that are being created, so that we don't just end up with a lot of materials and then not using them. So I'm busy thinking through how do we integrate a lot of these things that are coming out in the work that we do, supporting developing countries, for example, even supporting our own country, the United States, because that's also needed at this time. And so I think that that's also part of what is needed. So to the extent that we can build on existing platforms, that would be one way to help. But definitely keeping in mind that we need to be implementing solutions, especially the ones that we're creating now, and also keeping in mind that this type of event can definitely happen again, and we're lucky in a lot of ways that the case fatality rate is very low for this activity. In the US, we're seeing it's like 1.67% of people who get it are dying. We're grateful. But another type of illness, like for example, a SARS or MERS, have much higher case fatality rates. So it's really important that we have pandemic preparedness. And so I think a lot of these things, I think in a way, COVID is a big blessing because it's allowing us to prepare so that we don't experience the type of case fatalities we could experience with a much higher, more fatal virus in the future. So
trying to learn from now to be prepared for the next one, because the next one is coming, you would say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. It may not even be created yet, and not to say that someone will create it, but we're seeing a lot of jumping of viruses from animals to humans. We're seeing a lot of mutations. We can't say it's not going to happen. It's very, very possible. And I think COVID just opened our eyes to the possibility. This is no longer science fiction. This is no longer Hollywood. We must prepare. And the good news is that we can. I think that's the great news.
Thank you, Rachel. Sergio, your closing words? Sergio, would you like to share something before we finish? Yes?
Yes, so from my side, this epidemic, this pandemic changed everything. Definitely changing the way we work. And I think this is an opportunity to learn how can we, as Rachel said, this awareness for the future, but also learnings on how can we work on a faster way, on delivering products faster to the market, on learning from these kind of hackathons to deliver, to collaborate with other people. This changed everything, and I think that there will be a lot of learnings for companies, the governments, even for people, how to prepare, how to act on such situations, but also on the near future, on how things could be if we applied some of the learnings of this time.
Thank you, Sergio. Gisbert, anything?
Thank you.
Thank you. That we discussed some questions before that we could not go through everything. Was there anything that you know is still missing that you would like to share?
Let me make two statements which come from the heart here. First of all, I think that any success we will have as a community, and we will be successful, should be shared, and not a single organization or institution or country or whatever should claim the whole success for itself. And second, we should definitely not start blaming anyone, but understand the causes of this dreadful disease, because only then we will be able to, as my colleagues said, we will be able to fight similar outbreaks in the future.
Thank you so much, Gisbert. Thank you, everyone. We got a few people here. Not questions. You all really rock. Thank you so much for sharing expertise in such a professional way. So thank you very much for joining. I will close this round now, as we were already over. We already went over the time. It was very interesting, and I'm sure that everyone can still get in touch with you if they need help or have further questions.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And for the audience out there, we're now continuing. We have a few teams here ready to share some of their pitches, so we get a feel of what they're working on. So I'm going to start to add some of them, and I will ask the experts to leave the virtual studio, as we cannot have, as we can just have a certain amount of people in the studio, and we have a few that are trying to get in to access the studio. Thank you. So I'm gonna start. I see there's Nicola here. Hi, Nicola.
The surname is a little bit hard. Čihorić, Nicola. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya.
Hi.
So,
okay. So maybe you can just quickly share with us what you're working on, what's the idea, and yeah.
Okay. So I hope that you see my screen. I have shared some screen. I will try to be as understandable as possible. What we are doing is creating a complex information management system, where we can create arbitrary number of documents or data capture forms. As you see here, we have created also in background knowledge management system, where every single data point is defined and connected with international thesaurus, international coding system. So every data point could be identified across the globe. You can also add arbitrary number of translation and everything what you need to achieve complete semantic interoperability. In reality, this form for data collection may look something like this. We have took WHO case report for data reporting, just for an example, just to make this happen and to show to the world that this is actually possible to make within a very tight deadline. This form could be accessed by any hospital information system or any other data management system, and can be filled either manually by some study nurses or doctors on the field, or could be filled up with hospital information system like blood values automatically over HL7 FHIR interface. It is also possible to have interactive PDF forms if someone don't want to access to the HTML. he can took simply this PDF form that is structured in background, and all data that are saved here could be easily extracted in semantically interoperable way. Then to make this useful, let's imagine that you have suddenly somehow access to all hospitals in Switzerland, and all patient data are coming in, streaming in. You have to make an analysis. You have to take a look which kind of intervention are working, which kind of intervention are not working. To test this hypothesis, we have created a statistical simulation where we have took individual patient data and simulated in order to receive some idea how this may look like in real life. I have put a lot of effort to look for literature data and to put as reliable data as possible. And if you just take another minute, we can take a look how this look like in real time, real world. We have simulated this on sample of 1,000 patient data set, where you can literally in real time track everything what is going on with patient, with treatment, and with outcome. So that is in short. I know that there is much more to tell about this, but I'm out of 3 minutes. So I will publish a little bit more later on across Slack. So stay tuned.
Nicola, just a question.
Yes, please.
Are you getting everything what you need from the community, or are you still looking for something? Because that will be the time.
I should simply offer to the community. I have promised yesterday that we are going to give this simulated data set to testing, but of course, you know, we are under pressure as everybody else. I will try to release this over RESTful API as soon as possible, maybe later today.
Okay.
Or as a CSV file, everything what we have created.
So later today we can check it.
Hopefully.
Okay, good.
So we are working hard.
Even more pressure is on.
Thank you very much. I hope that I was understandable as possible, because this is a complex topic.
Otherwise,
thank you very much.
Can chat to you.
Can chat with me anytime.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to add Andreas Studer. Hi, Andreas.
Hey, Tanya, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Who else do you need to add?
Talha from our team in Pakistan.
Great.
Talha and Jumya. Hey, Talha. Okay.
Talha has you have your mic muted, so probably you
we mute and unmute whenever we speak, okay? So we don't have echo.
Okay, good.
All right. I'm sorry?
Do you need the chart?
Yes. No, I guess I'm okay with the slides, and then Talha will share his screen after that.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so basically what we do usually is we build chat solutions and contact center for large banks, operators, utility companies, and so on, primarily in Africa. So Rachel Solomon will probably like this. And we have also built a similar solution for a poison center and a suicide hotline. And just as a disclosure, I'm the husband of the Kantonsarzt of Bern, but the opinions are my own. I disagree with her on many topics, so whatever I say here is not anyone in any way or form. I don't have access to privileged information. So what we build is a solution where you can, with chat, that automatically escalates to a chatbot that allows you to gather information, to do question and answer, and then to escalate the whole thing to human agents, such as medical personnel or doctors or nurses, if certain criteria are met, and then they can follow up on that particular chat. We could also have chat to voice, so whatever is possible on chat is in principle also feasible via voice. So this could be used as a question and answer tool for populations or doctors, gathering data, including multimedia data. So I had some interactions with the team that is working on this coughing samples, for example. And we also do queuing to those human agents. The advantage that we see in chat or voice is that it basically doesn't require any mobile app, and every user already has it and has a known identity. And What we see, especially in terms of crisis, what we saw, for example, in the suicide hotline, is that if you have those surges and large waves, or you suddenly have a large amount of traffic, you initially typically start with human-to-human interactions, like we have it here in the canton of Bern. We have a small contact center, and then usually you would want to automate so that you can actually absorb larger volumes in an automated way. So there are steps how you can gradually introduce artificial intelligence by the means of a chatbot over time, and there are ways to do that. And also a particular issue that we have here is that dialogues tend to change over time, because the type of responses that you would have given to the population a week ago are no longer the same responses as you give them today. So if you program a chatbot today, that will no longer be valid in a week or two. So the answers and the interactions are typically different. This is how it looks like technically. So you have chat channels over any chat channel: Viber, Facebook Messenger, Skype, WhatsApp, SMS, MMS, and so on. Going to any chatbot, we've worked with Rasa, Dialogflow, IBM Watson, Microsoft Bot Framework, and then it hands off one or multiple chat sessions to human agents or nurses or doctors or whatever, who then are complemented automatically by the chatbot that answers if there is a specific answer that is available in the knowledge database. And this basically allows the human agents to, initially they do everything between humans, and then gradually more and more dialogues and more data is gathered by the chatbots, and thereby automating the process in itself. And so basically what happens is that over time, instead of having a traditional handoff from a chatbot to a human, you would have more and more chatbots inside of that session. And Tala will now show you an example of that for the case of a coronavirus question and answer chatbot, where we just fed it some Q&A data from the World Health Organization, but it could just be any Q&A session.
Yes, let me share my screen with you. Okay. Okay, this is our chat gadget. Okay.
I cannot see your screen. Oh, okay, now it comes. Okay, good. Okay, go on.
I have to edit. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm entering as a Peter. Okay, and I've given. We have added some question on it, that what is corona, what is COVID, is there any treatment? So I'm just entering one question, and my system will automatically give me an answer. Okay, is there any treatment for an overcoronavirus? Or even in an EF chatbot will explain that there is no specific question or treatment or the disease caused by it. Okay, so we have added some questions for it, like treatment for coronavirus. And we have picked these questions from the WHO website. We have an chat agent with it as well. Like if this is our agent gadget, and if you want to ask something from the agent and or Rasa is not trained for it, then chat will be routed to our agent, and the agent will answer that question. We can train our Rasa as much as question we have in our database. Like all these chat will be stored in our Rasa conversation, and similarly we can train our Rasa accordingly. Like, Andrews.
Okay, thanks, Tala. So basically what we've shown you here is a simple sample with just web chat to web chat, but we can have the same thing from mobile chat to a mobile app. So you could have a elderly person chatting over SMS or whatever, and then going to a chatbot and then being handed off to a medical doctor, for example, also on his mobile phone. So we've enabled the same thing for Viber and other channels with rich messaging. We can insert geolocation and stuff like that. That's our solution. Thanks,
Great.
Tanya, for the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And good luck for the next few hours then.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm adding Alessandro. And,
Hey.
Hi, and I think I need to add
Matteo
Matteo?
Cortonesi.
Thanks for
Hi there.
Hi. Do you need
So,
that should be shared?
The screen will be shared after Matteo actually pitched the idea.
Okay, good. Then
all right.
the stage is yours.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matteo. I'm a software engineer at Google, though, of course, this has nothing to do with Google. Our project name is We Trace, and we believe that there's a post-COVID-19 society that can still thrive in social contact and, going back to the good old times. Now, to do this, we believe two things will be essentials. One is extensive testing, and the second thing is ultra uber contact tracing. And the problem with contact tracing is that you need an army of humans that just for contact tracing 10 people, it's an extremely big effort, because you have to make a lot of phone calls to the close contacts people had in the last 5 days or more, and you have to rely on these people's memories. So we turned to technology to solve this problem, and we came up with an app that allows you to basically keep track of your close contacts over the last X days and get notified if any of these contacts get basically tested positive for COVID-19, and vice versa. So this is, of course, all opt-in and voluntary. We put a lot of effort on privacy, so none of these close contacts data leaves your phone, nor any data is saved on any servers. And we work with 3 colors: green, you're healthy; orange, you had a close contact in the last 5 days with a confirmed COVID-19 case; and red, you marked yourself as a COVID-19 case. And so now, Alessandro, I'll give you the word. You can basically continue and give us a demo. We can't hear you. You have to unmute.
So is the screen already visible? You're on the show, so I guess it is, right?
Yes, we see it.
2 real devices, an Android device here and an iOS device here. And on the Android device, I will now open up our application. The application actually is able to transform your phone into a Bluetooth LE beacon. And Bluetooth LE is very powerful because it is very good to measure contacts with people nearby, and it will not drain your battery. And but for the purpose of this demo, I actually made sure that it's only now sending out and emitting signals when I open the app. But it can also do this in the background, and you will actually not see anything any reduction of your battery life performance. As Matteo already mentioned, privacy was of the essence with this project because we did not want to have a central database. And all the close contacts that you meet will actually be stored only on your device. And we want to highlight this with our onboarding. Okay, now we went through the entire onboarding and granted permission. This is how the application looks like after you went through the onboarding. And you see here I'm actually a healthy person. And if I now open up on my iPhone over here the same application, we will see that it's already detected the Android phone, and on the other side, it has not. Now it also detected the iPhone on the Android side. So both devices have now decided that there was a close contact in between the 2 devices. If I now go to the Android device and say, "Hey, I tested positive," then this will turn red for me because now I'm positive. I should stay in quarantine. And what happened on the right-hand side is actually that I get notified, hey, you've been in close contact with someone that tested positive. And this all tracks this close contacts locally on your device and in the background. And this is basically what WeTrace is. If you're interested and you like it, we already have some information about the technology on the dev post, where you can also like it. Cool. Well, we already were in close contact with mentors that took a look at privacy is very, very important in this specific case. And we managed to come up with a solution that actually honors also the privacy of the person.
Sounds good. Okay. Then good luck to you as well. A lot of strength for the next few hours. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to bring Simon in. Thanks, by the way, everyone, for your patience.
Hey, Tanya. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you too. Welcome. Okay, do you need anything or shall I just let the floor to you?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Simon from Team Detect Now, and what we're building is an AI to detect COVID-19 just from coughing sound recordings. And we think this is a huge opportunity because there's a lot of people that should get tested or want to get tested because they are coughing and they're afraid. And we want to build a tool where basically anyone at home at any time can get tested simply by uploading their audio to the website. And yeah, we've been actually just working with a team from engineers, data scientists, and also doctors over the last 2 days or so. And we've come up with a prototype already that I can quickly show you. So I'm going to share my screen.
I'm not sure how it works with just the screen sharing. Maybe, I don't know if Alessandro is still there or so. Maybe they can quickly tell us how they did it, because I basically saw, let me see. I think I have it here. I have it here. Okay, got it.
Is it up?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Here we have it. Okay.
Cool. So this is our prototype, our website, detect-now.org. And you see there's already 89 people that uploaded their samples over the last day or so. And we can simply click here, record a sample. It's going to ask us to fill some information. Have you been tested already? If yes, positive, negative, or have you not been tested? So for me, for example, I've not been tested yet. Then it's going to ask me to record my coughing. So I'm going to do that real quick. It's going to ask me for permission. Then we stop the recording and it's going to be saved. And then we can submit the form basically. And that's as simple as it works. And yeah, so currently I think the biggest challenge of what we're not allowed to do at the moment is to actually give diagnostics, because we learned now from a doctor during this process that this needs a medical trial. So even though we built and we're currently training the algorithm to give diagnostics, we can actually not yet show that to the users, and we're building it in the background by having people sort of donating their coughing samples and making our algorithm smarter over time.
Sounds good. Are you still needing anything? Do you want to reach out to the community if, yeah, you're looking for
so definitely what we are looking for to make the algorithm even better and to move this forward also with potential clinical trial, we need to improve it. So any coughing recording donation in a way is beneficial. So if you go to detect-now.org and you record a coughing sample, that'd be awesome. And it's going to help us make smarter predictions.
Okay, good. I'm going to do that right after.
Amazing.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Good luck as well. Okay, I'm not sure if I still have someone here or if this is by mistake. Malik, I see here Malik, but I think, yeah, I think that was it. Thank you very much for your pitches. That was really interesting. One can see that things are happening, are being done. So thank you very much for looking for solutions. That's it for today for a live stream. We'll be back tomorrow. You find the whole program on the website of Code versus COVID-19. COVID-19. Also, we just decided that we're going to open another pitching session tomorrow around 12:30. So we have a few more teams presenting their solutions. So thank you very much for joining and have a good day. Bye-bye.